Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at the EPI-USE Live's user group for 2021. I'm Magdaleen Kotzé, and I'm talking to Mike Gleeson from Cadent Gas today. Welcome, Mike, and thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Mike, would you mind just introducing yourself and what you do at Cadent Gas?
Yeah, sure. So, Mike Gleeson, I'm the Director of HRIS at Cadent Gas.
And what does Cadent Gas do here in the UK?
Cadent's actually the largest gas distribution network. We manage a network of more than 80,000 miles of pipe, most of them underground, and it goes to 11 million customers. That's a pretty textbook answer because it's on our website, but I think that once you know Cadent, you'll probably notice the vans out and about everywhere. Certainly when you start working somewhere, you start to notice those types of things more than you normally would. And they've got some really great people that are doing some great things in, out and about in the community. And I was quite surprised to know the extent of the work that they do.
Great. So you've joined Cadent sort of in the last year. How has the move over been for you?
Yeah, I joined just less than 12 months ago. I joined at a point where we went into COVID lockdown not long afterwards, so it's been interesting. So in terms of the workloads, my background's pretty much in SAP and shared services and HRIS. So in terms of the work, it wasn't necessarily anything that I hadn't done before. We were at a point of time where it was quite a difficult one. We had an offshore model in Cadent where we had a team in India that were managing a lot of the back office processes, including the reporting and managing the systems and running the payroll through. And we lost them overnight. So we went from having 23 or 24 people in India that were helping us manage all the transactional tasks to them going on a full lockdown and us not having any of them for months. So we've been going through a process of moving all that back to the UK, which we did pretty quickly in a 2 to 3 month period. Whilst we were doing it, Cadent was going through an S4 implementation. So we've been doing that, moving all the HCM onto S4 and compatibility packs. And we've had a focus on the back office and how to improve it, streamlining processes, making it easier for people to interact with and do work with. So yeah, it's been quite a busy time, to be honest.
That sounds kind of quite like a difficult task. So in terms of the COVID stuff, did you need to use Query Manager with that process, or did you not have Query Manager at that time already in Cadent Gas?
No, we didn't have it at the time. So we had part of the offshore team that were managing all the data. So I think there was over 200 reports that were all being manually put together, and probably not too dissimilar to lots of other companies that were using like SE16, ad hoc query, PT64. There was a large number of Excel sheets and VBA flying about everywhere and Access databases to send some of the reports out. So one of the main things that I did as part of us doing the onshoring was we bought Query Manager, which I've used in multiple businesses before. So I'm pretty au fait with the tool, and quite a few of my team have used it in lots of other companies as well. So it was one of the tools that really helped us onshore everything. And I think all the 200 reports, there was 5 or 6 people that used to manage that offshore, and now we've fully automated it using QM, which one person in the team kind of manages day to day, although there was a few of them that helped build them. So we've used Query Manager throughout the process, and it's really helped us.
That sounds amazing. So in terms of your model, do you use just the HCM on-premise, or do you also have some success factors at Cadent Gas?
We've got a couple of the success factors modules, but we don't really use them in Anger apart from the learning management suite. So the next big project that I'm looking at is actually us starting to use success factors. That'll be a full UK rollout of nearly all the modules. We're just working on the project and in the middle of an RFP for that. So we do have success factors, but we haven't started merging all the data across the two applications yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the next step in our success factors on our query manager journey.
Yeah, and then obviously with hybrid reporting, there's a little bit more complexity to make sure that the data between the systems are accurate, and that you have a handle on that.
Yeah, I think we've got the functionality set up, and we've kind of done some of the testing across the multiple systems. We've probably got other priorities where the needs to link in the learning data with the normal HCM data is probably not there yet. I think that'll kind of grow in time. I think we find Query Manager quite flexible in terms of linking any data sets together, no matter what system they come from, even if it's manual files. So we don't see that being a problem. It's just making sure that the data's right, so that it actually makes sense.
Yeah. So even before you joined Cadent Gas, you started the concept here in the UK of the Query Manager user group. Could you tell us a little bit about why you started off with this initiative?
Yeah, sure. I think we just found that we were talking to other customers, and there was quite a lot of kind of synergies across different businesses and how we use Query Manager. So I think there was a few of us that were talking about other products that we use, and I just put the idea forward to, I think, yourself and Natasha at the time, just saying it'd be good to have a formal group put together so that we could just share success stories and swap notes and stuff. So the online portal's great, and I think you can ask whatever you want and people generally come back to you, but there's probably not really a substitute for just getting in a room with people that are all kind of doing the same thing and swapping notes and ideas around how things might work. Probably made a bit more difficult now at the moment because we can't go and meet anyone anywhere, but hopefully that'll change in the not too distant future.
Yes, no, definitely. I think once we are at a point where COVID is a little bit more under control, then we will definitely get together again and get the group together. So Mike, do you have examples of where QM has made an impact on your business?
Yeah, sure. So I think firstly the onshoring piece. So we had around 200-ish reports that were getting done offshore manually using various different mechanisms. As part of our onshoring piece, we started to automate processes using QM and Document Builder, and we've nearly automated all of the reports now, which are managed by one person, and then we've started to now automate some of the documents that need to go out, things like probationary letters, starters, leavers process, and things like that. So that's had a really positive impact. I think the ability to give our business data that historically would have involved a big IT project. So I think what QM does, it breaks down the barriers between technical and non-technical. So without needing to get an ABAPer in to build a custom Z transaction or anything, it's allowed us to be agile with our data and make it intuitive, which again in turn that actually drives a culture change, and people start to come to you for data rather than you having to push it to them. So yeah, I think that's a real positive.
That sounds great. And then what is the major benefit for you using Query Manager?
I think one of the major benefits is the ease of use and the efficiency that it drives. Again, historically, a lot of these types of reports, you'd need an IT project or an SI partner that's going to go and build it for you. I know certainly other companies I've worked at, that's the case, and it probably was at Cadent. I think it just gives your HRIS teams or your HR teams the ability to go and build those reports yourself and automate them. without having to, have SAP build or workflow. Where we use a number of the EPI-USE tools, and I think that's kind of the way that they push it, and it's a good fit for us, certainly in Cadent. We've managed to automate a lot of our monthly reporting, which we do through QM, and then Flow picks it up and we surface it via Power BI. Power BI is used quite widely now in Cadent, so that's a big plus for us, and it reduces a lot of the manual work that was done to send reports out to people, probably in a non-intuitive way as well, just Excel sheets. It's really driven a lot of change to do with our payroll processing. There's lots of reports that most companies are run to do with payroll, so I'll use one like national minimum wage for example. We've automated a lot of those reports, and it drives a lot of efficiency around the payroll run, reducing the time that it takes them to do check-in, even do full payroll reconciliations off the back of it. And I think lastly, we use it for audit. We'd rather use roles and authorization, but it comes to the point sometimes where you'll have too many that are attached to people. So anything that we can't manage using roles or auths, we'll actually build query manager reports to audit the change. And that might just be to make sure that somebody in a team's got the right paperwork to go and change some of these bank details or pay. But it just puts that kind of governance in place for when you get audited.
Last questions. What is next for you?
We're going to do a success factors implementation, hopefully, when we get that signed off. So that's kind of changing our whole HRIS landscape in how we interact with the business. We've got a really mobile workforce. Our systems aren't necessarily as mobile as they used to, as they need to be, sorry. I think that we've got a real push on that, and I think the ease of use of systems for our employee base has got to be our main focus. And we've got a kind of typical old SAP system with a really clunky portal, etc. So yeah, I just think that we really need to have a view of how people are going to consume systems and data moving forward, and our key focus is to make us easy to do business with, which will in turn allow us to do more things with HR systems and data, and hopefully drive more change in the business.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your story and what you do with Query Manager at Cadent Gas. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Magdaleen.